Scribbles in my notebook as the Steelers lead the Browns 9-3 at the half. 1. The Browns' offense was, well, not much. A drive near the end of the half led to an Andre Scmyt 31-yard field goal for Cleveland's only points. 2. Browns quarterback Dillon Gabriel was 13 for 18 passing for 92 yards. Lots of short passes. He also was sacked 3 times. He avoided turnovers. But the offense also didn't move much. 3. Before the game, Pittsburgh coach Mike Tomlin compared Quinton Judkins to Nick Chubb, at least in some ways. Tomlin loaded up the line of scrimmage to stop Judkins. It worked. He had 14 yards in 6 carries. 4. Chris Boswell has been Pittsburgh's kicker for the last 11 seasons. He's made 88% of his career field goal attempts. Since the start of the 2023 season, it's 92%. Boswell made a 44-yard field goal in the first quarter. He had 3 field goals in the first half. 5. I couldn't resist. I want to know how many kickers the Browns have had in that 11-year span. I didn't count guys such as Riley Patterson, who kicked in only 1 game. Counting 2025, Browns kicker Andre Scmyt is the 10th in that span. Some of the names from the past include Cody Parkey, Greg Joseph, and Travis Coons. 6. Pittsburgh's first field goal was set up with a broken coverage on the part of the Browns. Tight end Darnell Washington was wide open for a 36-yard catch. Newcomer Tyson Campbell ran down Washington from behind. He was not responsible for the coverage on that play. 7. Cam Robinson started at left tackle for the Browns. He's the 4th different player to start at that spot. Yes, this is only game 6. 8. In the first quarter, Browns receiver Jerry Jeudy drew a personal foul penalty for taking a swing at a Steeler. A few plays later, Jeudy dropped a pass. He came into the day tied for the NFL lead with 5 drops. So it's now 6 in 5 games. 9. Former Brown Jabril Peppers was cut by New England before the season. Pittsburgh signed him. In the first quarter, he was flagged for a blindside block on a punt return and also for illegal use of hands on defense. The safety is playing 20% of the snaps on defense this season for Pittsburgh. The Steelers also have former Brown Juan Thornhill in their secondary. 11. Boswell drilled a 50-yard field goal early in the second quarter. He is 3 for 3 on field goals from at least 50 yards this season. Boswell kept kicking. He made a 48-yarder with 3:38 left in the third quarter. I'm grateful to my readers who have read me for decades. I'm the author of more than 30 books, a winner of the National Headliner Award as the nation's best sports columnist in 2020 and best sports writer in. The Cleveland Browns are having an extremely rough go of things. The Browns were hopeful that this season would serve as a reset in order to get back to the winning culture that seemed to be building with Baker Mayfield, who led the team to a playoff victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers and very nearly an upset of the Kansas City Chiefs. However, the Browns' loss to those same Steelers dropped the team to 1-5 on the season and resulted in some interesting quotes from star pass rusher Myles Garrett and Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin. Garrett voiced his frustrations with losing in a similar fashion week after week. Browns' Myles Garrett says it is frustrating to lose same way every game, with offense not scoring. Tomlin is gearing up to face the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday and will be facing Joe Flacco, whom the Browns traded to Cincinnati after benching him for rookie Dillon Gabriel, and made some very pointed comments about the Browns' general manager. People were interested in these podcasts. Andrew Berry must be a lot smarter than me or us, because it doesn't make sense to me to trade a QB you think enough of to make your opening day starter to a division opponent that's hurting in that area. But that's just my personal feeling, Tomlin said. Now, in the wake of all the Browns' perplexing quarterback decisions over the years, it appears they'll have to make another one here soon, as it's been confirmed that Deshaun Watson is nearing a return to the field. The Steelers have a lot to fit into a short week with a Thursday night game against the Cincinnati Bengals at Paycor Stadium, and getting players healthy in a few days isn't an easy thing. Coach Mike Tomlin already ruled out special teams captain Miles Killebrew, who suffered a significant knee injury in the Steelers win over the Cleveland Browns at Acrisure Stadium on Sunday. Obviously, Miles Killebrew's injury is significant, said Tomlin, and he can be described as out. Not having Killebrew on Thursday is a blow for the special teams unit, But there is also the next man up approach. "He's our captain, but you guys know the motto that we live by," said Tomlin. "We can certainly hurt for him as a man and as a teammate and a brother and an individual, but from a football perspective, one man's misfortune is another man's opportunity, and we certainly have some capable people, and there's an expectation that others step up and fill in the gaps. We're going to divide the labor up based on the skill set in a certain space. One guy might be similar to him in punt team, another guy might be similar to him in terms of what he does on the kickoff team. We'll deal with those individually per space." While Tomlin was definitive on Killebrew status, that wasn't the case for receiver Calvin Austin III. Austin missed the Browns game after injuring his shoulder against the Minnesota Vikings in Week 4, and his status for this week is yet to be determined. The Steelers are only holding a walkthrough on Monday, and on the estimated practice report, Austin would not have practiced. Calvin missed the last game. "We'll see what this week looks like," said Tomlin. "It's a short week, but we do have a good workday tomorrow. We'll see what that holds." In Austin's absence in the return game, rookie Kushawn Williams stepped up. Williams was signed from the practice squad to the 53-man roster on Saturday and returned 3 punts for 30 yards, including a long of 15 yards. He had a 47-yard punt return called back for an illegal blindside block on the play as well. Williams also returned 2 kickoffs for 50 yards, a 25-yard average. "Can't say enough about young Koo as a punt returner getting his first NFL action in place of Calvin," said Tomlin. "For example, I thought he made good decisions. I thought he was mechanically solid, fundamentally solid. But there's a lot of examples of that, and that's just the nature of this journey. I don't think there's been a game this year where we haven't elevated someone from our practice squad in some form or fashion in an effort to participate. I just think it's a function of the game and player availability, and that's why we've got to train all our people. We've got to harden the collective. We've got to develop skill and know-how in all areas, just knowing that at some point in time everyone is going to get an opportunity to show their readiness and their capabilities." 2 players who were on the field Sunday after dealing with injuries were cornerbacks Joey Porter Jr. and Jalen Ramsey. Porter had missed the last 3 games, while Ramsey didn't miss any time, other than a few days of practice, after suffering a hamstring injury against the Vikings. There were no ill effects of Jalen Ramsey's return to action, Joey Porter Jr.'s return to action, said Tomlin. There were some bumps and bruises associated with play and game, but nothing that would raise our antennas regarding player availability on Thursday night as I sit here right now. Last week, Tomlin praised the aggressive approach Ramsey took toward his recovery, something that quarterback Aaron Rodgers also took notice of and called him out for after the game. I do want to make a point and talk about Ramsey, because what he did this week getting ready to play, said Rodgers. I've been around the game a long time, and I've seen a lot of guys in a situation where you got a Sunday/Thursday, skip both games, where maybe they're 85%, but they want to be 100%, because I think there's a fear of failure almost that can paralyze them where, if I don't play my best game, then what does that say about me if I'm not 100%? I think some guys are scared to go out there and play, but for Jalen to go out there with everything he's accomplished in this league, I just can't say enough about the level of respect I have for him. He had, 2 sacks and pass breakups and tackles. If there was any question about the type of person that he is, take away the incredible player, but the person and teammate, I think he just showed all of us the kind of guy that he is by going out there and playing Sunday. Tomlin has seen that desire in Ramsey since he was acquired via a trade with the Miami Dolphins this offseason, and well before that. It is certainly a shining example of what professional football is about, said Tomlin. But I doubt that any of us are surprised by it. Just having been around him since he's gotten here, that's very consistent behavior with what he's displayed throughout. And personally, for a guy like me who has scouted him since was at Florida State, I certainly know that's a component of his football character. So, I'm certainly not surprised by it. But it doesn't mean that we don't appreciate it. Not only do we appreciate his willingness to play, we appreciate his playmaking, and you need both in order for it to be real. And he certainly provided both. Linebacker Malik Harrison also returned to practice on Monday, but remains on the reserve/injured, designated for return list. The estimated practice report is below. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 4-1, and that usually means they're on track to be buyers, not sellers at the trade deadline. However, there is one player the Steelers should look to sell, tight end Pat Freiermuth. I know. Freiermuth is a fan favorite and a good player, but someone tell the Steelers the latter because it doesn't seem like they have much use for him this year. Through 5 games, Freiermuth has just 8 catches for 76 yards and is playing on less than half, 46.8%, of the team snaps. And, after averaging 32.3 snaps per game over the first 3, Freiermuth has averaged just 18 the last 2 contests. Part of that has to do with the fact that the Steelers just have too many damn tight ends on the roster with Jonnu Smith and Darnell Washington, but it's also because Washington continues to ascend into a bigger role. The 2023 third-round pick has quietly gone from averaging 23 snaps per contest over the first 3 weeks to 47.5 over the last 2 games. Meanwhile, Smith has seen his snaps stay steady outside of Week 4. It's clear that Freiermuth has fallen out of favor with offensive coordinator Arthur Smith for whatever reason, and the Steelers now have a $48 million tight end basically doing nothing. As far as compensation is concerned, the Steelers would probably fetch a day 3 pick, or they could flip Freiermuth for a player that helps a position of need. Not a great return, but it's better than having Freiermuth riding the pine and having nothing to show for it other than the salary cap hit.